Welcome back to a new episode of Wheels of History. Before diving into the story of today's protagonist, we invite you to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like this one. For you, it's just a small gesture, but for us, it's crucial to keep sharing stories about vehicles that have left their mark on history. Today, we'll tell the story of the Moto Guzzi Airone 250. From its earliest days, Moto Guzzi had linked its production to model codes or numbers. However, by the late 1930s, a significant shift began, at least in terms of naming its models. This marked the start of a transformation that over a few years would see all motorcycles named after birds. While this change made its presence felt in the racing world with models like the 250 Albatross and the 500 Condor, the real novelty emerged in the 250cc production class. Moto Guzzi's three new models in this category, Igretta, Ardetta and Airone, were all named after birds of the Ciconiformes family, creatures with long legs, as the shared theme suggests. It was the Airone that wrote an important chapter for the Mandello-based company in a displacement class that, despite its initial competitive success with the Mono Albero, had never been developed into a mass-market road model. Its origins can be traced back to 1932 with the P175, a motorcycle innovative for its time. While retaining a traditional design, it introduced important new features: an engine casing, a chromed fuel tank with rounded and elegant lines, and an advanced overhead valve configuration. These pioneering solutions, first seen on the P175, were later extended to the 500cc models in the V series in 1933, influencing Moto Guzzi's production for years to come. In 1934, new regulations allowed for surpassing the 175cc limit, leading to the creation of the P250 and PE models. Although their names suggested a 250cc displacement, the actual capacity was 2.3cc, achieved with a 68 bore and a 64 stroke. These models retained Moto Guzzi's classic technical design, a horizontal cylinder, overhead valves inclined at 31 degrees, and pump lubrication. Despite the increased displacement, they introduced no radical innovations but solidified the company's identity. In 1937, alongside the PE, the budget-friendly PL model was introduced, increasing displacement to 246.33cc with a 70 bore. To reduce costs, the PL omitted chrome finishes, used a frame of tubes and stamped metal, and featured a simplified fork. Its price was competitive, 4,250 lire for the base PL, while the PE with an elastic frame cost 5,250 lire. That same year, sportier variants were developed, the PES for the P and the PLS for the PL. In 1938, the PL also received a version with an elastic frame called the PLE, featuring an upgraded engine. Simultaneously, Moto Guzzi expanded its lineup with the Igretta, which boasted superior finishes compared to the PL, and the Ardetta, an economical model sold for 3,950 lire, designed as the people's machine. In 1939, a major turning point occurred. The 246.33cc engine became the standard for all models in the series. The Ardetta replaced the PL as the budget model, while the Igretta retained its higher technical and aesthetic refinement. Meanwhile, the PE, though still featuring an elastic frame, began to show signs of aging. These developments culminated in the introduction of the Airone in 1939, a motorcycle that marked the start of a new era. Based on a tubular frame derived from the PE with an elastic frame and equipped with a 4-speed gearbox with constant mesh gears, the Airone represented a significant step forward, both technically and commercially, solidifying Moto Guzzi's prestige. With the Airone, Moto Guzzi not only refreshed its aesthetics but also made a true leap forward in technical innovation. The Airone went on sale in June 1939, heralding the arrival of a new protagonist in the Italian motorcycle scene. The first model delivered was priced at 6,200 lire, considerably higher than the 4,300 lire for the Igretta and the 3,950 lire for the Ardetta. However, this price difference reflected the Aerone's superior features. Just a few months after its launch, the Aerone demonstrated its potential. In September 1939, the sole Airone entry in the 6 days trial in Germany, ridden by Gino Cavana, earned a prestigious gold medal. This sporting success in a highly significant international competition was an excellent omen for the future of the new model. From a technical standpoint, the Airone stood out with a claimed power of 9.5 horsepower at 4,800 revolutions per minute, a weight of 135 kilograms, and a top speed of about 95 kilometers per hour. These specifications positioned the motorcycle at the top of its class for versatility and performance. However, production was soon slowed by the growing tensions of war, and by 1940 only 997 units had been built. In 1940, amid increasing demands for rationalization, Moto Guzzi decided to replace the tubular frame with stamped sheet metal components, a solution aimed at reducing production costs. However, the ambitions of the Mandello del Lario factory faced a sharp halt when Italy entered World War II in mid-1940. The conflict forced Moto Guzzi to scale back its plans, suspending civilian production of the Airone. At the end of the war in 1945, Moto Guzzi resumed production of the Airone, aiming to reclaim the Italian market during a time of reconstruction. To relaunch the model, the company emphasized its pre-war sporting successes in advertising campaigns, associating them with an evocative and optimistic image of freedom and rebirth. A striking tourist photograph taken near Mandello del Lario became the centerpiece of their communication, appealing to motorcyclists longing to rediscover the joy of travel and freedom of movement. Technically, comma. The post-war Airone remained largely unchanged from its pre-war version. Thanks to its already proven robustness and reliability, 2,050 units were produced by the end of 1946. That year, the selling price had risen to 210,000 lire, a substantial sum for the time, reflecting both higher production costs and the Aerone's new positioning as a symbol of quality and tradition. The first significant technical update to the Airone in the post-war period came with the introduction of new suspension solutions. The traditional parallelogram fork was replaced with a modern telescopic hydraulic fork, a cutting-edge technology at the time. At the rear, the springs beneath the engine, connected to the swing arm, were integrated with hydraulic shock absorbers, significantly improving riding comfort and stability. This technical solution, initially tested on the Airone, was later adopted for larger displacement models like the 500 GTV and the Astor. Confirming the innovation's versatility and success, the updated Airone entered production in January 1947, with its engine remaining unchanged from the previous version. Performance stayed the same, but the overall weight of the motorcycle increased by about 9 kilograms, a change that did not significantly impact the riding experience. This model remained in the catalogue for 18 months, during which 2,450 units were built. The selling price, now at 240,000 lire, reflected the motorcycle's superior level of technology and quality, making it a prestigious choice for motorcyclists of the time. At the Milan Motor Show in 1948, Moto Guzzi introduced two versions of the Airone, Turismo and Sport, both featuring a significant technical upgrade, a new cylinder head and barrel made of lightweight alloy with valves enclosed in an oil bath. This advanced solution improved engine efficiency and component durability. The Turismo retained the traditional stamped sheet metal swing arm paired with a hydraulic shock absorber, ensuring stability and comfort for versatile everyday use. The Sport, on the other hand, targeted a performance-oriented audience, returning to a tubular swing arm inspired by the racing world, equipped with cantilever shock absorbers. This version was further enhanced with larger brakes, the same as the 500cc models, aluminum rims, an SS carburetor, and details such as a single saddle and a sporty handlebar, highlighting its racing spirit. By around 1950, the Airone had reached a position of absolute dominance in its category, nearing a monopoly. This success was not based solely on performance or design, but on a combination of deeper factors. While its appearance, simple and angular, did not stand out for refinement, and its performance was not cutting edge, the Airone became a benchmark thanks to its reliability. This distinctive quality, built on years of successes and mechanical ingenuity, was intertwined with an efficient sales and service network. Moto Guzzi provided technical support even in the most remote areas, a level of coverage that no competitor could match. This practical advantage made the Airone a natural choice for thousands of Italians. With the introduction of the Airone Sport, Moto Guzzi emphasized its higher power compared to the Turismo model, delivering more spirited performance, approximately 13.5 horsepower at 6,000 revolutions per minute, fuel consumption of 1 litre per 27 kilometers, and a weight of 137 kilograms. This version solidified the brand's successful tradition, earning gold medals at the Pre-Airone in 1949 with Bruno Francisci and in 1951 with Alano Montanari, along with other victories in international competitions. Priced at 380,000 lire, the first sport version remained in production until 1951. The Airone was not just a motorcycle, it soon became the most appreciated, versatile and widespread 250cc bike in Italy. It embodied the ideal of a universal vehicle, capable of successfully tackling a variety of challenges, from daily commuting to tourism and even sports use, a true workhorse that defined an era. Unlike more utilitarian models like the Ardetta, designed for a more popular audience, the Airone offered a superior, well-finished experience representing a clear leap in quality. In 1952, the Airone underwent modifications to streamline production. With standardized components between Turismo and Sport and only slight aesthetic differences, the Sport gained a new brake lever operable by foot. However, the power was reduced to 12 horsepower at 5,200 revolutions per minute to improve reliability, while the top speed dropped to 117 kilometers per hour. Despite setting a sales record that year, Moto Guzzi removed the Airone from its official advertisements. Prices were set at 403,000 lire for the Turismo and 413,000 lire for the Sport. From 1952 onwards, the Airone began to be supplied to the Italian armed forces, a production line that continued until 1961. The military version featured 3.25-19 tyres, a shorter final drive ratio, crash bars replacing the leg guards used by the Air Force, some units with Del Auto air filters, a weight of 150 kilograms, and a top speed of 92 kilometers per hour. The paintwork was dark olive green or blue. The last unit was sold to the Ministry of Defense Army in Rome on October 21st, 1961. Nonetheless, the Airone remained a symbol of resilience and adaptability for a long time. A motorcycle that not only accompanied Italians in work and travel, but also became an icon of Moto Guzzi's technical and commercial success. The year 1953 marked the commercial peak of the Airone, driven by Italy's burgeoning economic miracle, which brought rising purchasing power to Italian households. The version with the rounded Falcone-style tank became a symbol of those years, representing solidity and prestige. However, signs of decline were already evident. The rise of the new 175cc bikes, lighter, more agile and higher performing, equipped with advanced technology such as single and dual overhead cams, heralded the beginning of a new era. The shift was evident in competitions. At the 1953 Moto Giro and even more so at the 1954 Milano-Taranto, the 175cc models stole the spotlight, even outperforming more powerful 500cc racing bikes. Their agility, modern design and competitive price quickly overshadowed the Airone's glorious past. In an Italy looking towards the future, the robustness and reliability that had always been the Airone's strengths began to feel like values of a bygone era. In 1954, following new regulations, a more effective silencer was introduced, reducing the Sport's top speed to 110 kilometers per hour, disappointing enthusiasts. Other modifications included a die-cast crankcase to lower production costs and a red and chrome tank similar to the Falcone's. Prices remained unchanged from 1952. By 1956, with the Airone's production cycle nearing its end, The Sport was offered with the BGM ogival muffler at a reduced price. 349,000 lire for the Turismo and 364,000 lire for the Sport. The price difference between the two versions further narrowed, signaling the model's difficulties in staying competitive. The Aerone's decline was now inevitable. While still respected and appreciated by more traditional motorcyclists, the market increasingly leaned towards cheaper and more modern vehicles. The aging 250cc bikes like the Airone retained their reputation for mechanical longevity. But the public favoured the brightness and speed of the new models. The Airone, once synonymous with excellence, now seemed increasingly like a giant with feet of clay, unable to keep pace with the changing times. A renewal would have been necessary to keep the Airone competitive, but the original pre-war design was no longer suited for significant evolution. Felt oil seals, a cumbersome lubrication system, heavy valve train components, and a frame composed of riveted and welded elements represented outdated technical solutions. Even attempts to reduce exhaust noise further dampened performance, diminishing the vibrancy that had once been its hallmark. Aware of this reality, Moto Guzzi decided to turn the page. In 1956, it introduced the Lodola 175, a completely new motorcycle. Light, modern and designed for a broader audience thanks to a price of 249,000 lire, significantly more affordable than the Airone. The Lodola represented the future, while the Airone, increasingly relegated to a marginal role, remained in the catalogue until 1957, mainly to meet the needs of the armed forces. The Aerone's swan song came in 1961 with the delivery of the final military units. In just over a decade, from 1949, 26,926 units had been produced, the majority in the sport version, surpassing even the numbers of the renowned Falcone. This legacy, as solid as the iron of its cylinders, enshrined the Airone as one of the pillars of Italian motorcycle history. However, as the world changed rapidly, even the roads travelled by motorcycles were evolving, marking the end of a glorious era and the beginning of a new one. We'll stop here, but remember that Guzzi spare parts and other vintage motorcycle components can be found on thekingopiston.com. The wheels turn, the stories remain. Every bike tells a journey and unveils an era. See you on the next ride, always on two wheels and with a piece of history to tell.